War, fight, battle, democracy, freedom. This is the language Hong Kong protesters used in 2019. The powerless fight war for ideologies. The powerful wage wars for economic interests. I fear the protesters' mistrust of the Hong Kong and Beijing governments are binding them to the foreign interest who benefit from their chaos, anarchy, and unrests. The anti-extradition bill protests in 2019 were not the first clue we had of anti-government sentiments in Hong Kong. The first wave was in 2014 when the Occupy movement blocked major intersections for 79 days in order to sway the election committee's nomination of the now Chief Executive Carrie Lam for fear she would favor Beijing's interest over Hong Kong's. 5 years later, the tactics were different. They were better coordinated, better funded, and more violent. That these protests are popular cannot be denied. Hundreds of thousands of people attended these rallies, but I see this as a wake-up call. Not enough has been done to combat the constant smearing of the Beijing and Hong Kong governments by Western media. So much so that when the Hong Kong government obeys their demands, as they have with the withdrawal of the anti-extradition bill, the protesters don't care. So much so that when the United States Senate passes a Hong Kong Freedom and Democracy Act that serves the economic interest of the United States and does nothing to further the freedoms of Hong Kongers, the protesters are delighted. This act protects the more than 1,300 United States businesses that benefit from Hong Kong's proximity to China, independent judiciary, the rule of law, and special trade status. Furthermore, the act grants United States President Donald Trump visa and asset blocking permissions on the Chinese citizens he deems unfit. Now, how does this increase our freedom? The protesters who believed freedom will come from riots are a minority in Hong Kong. Most of us do not even want to turn into a Western-style democracy, especially after witnessing how the United States handled the coronavirus outbreak. China has just closed the last of its 16 temporary hospitals in a partially reopened Wuhan, while the United States leads the world in total coronavirus deaths. The qualities of freedom, individualism, and partisan distrust all held them back. In order to prevent protest violence in the first place, we need defensive preparatory measures and an overhaul in media and education. Despite any foreign country's external interest, the internal security of Hong Kong is threatened, most by the distrust that the protesters feel towards their government. The Hong Kong protesters are being led to believe false promises of freedom and democracy made by countries who actively profit off their unrest. I only hope they realize this before it is too late.